A new Team Go Rocket takeover event is coming to Pokemon Go, and this one you do not want to miss out on because they're going to be debuting a new Shadow Legendary, and they're also going to be bringing back a Shadow Legendary that is extremely good. I'm going to be talking about all of this in today's video. Let's get right into it. Alright, what's happening everyone? Jinsula here with a brand new Pokemon Go video. I hope your day is going really well, and let's get right into it. So I will say that one of the most important in-game events that we get every so often is going to be Team Go Rocket takeover events. The reason why I say that is because Shadow Pokemon are some of the most powerful Pokemon in the game. They deal an incredible amount of damage when it comes to raid battles, and in certain PvP teams you do need to have yourself a couple of Shadow Pokemon. But the problem with Shadow Pokemon is, of course, they have the Charge Attack Frustration, which deals very little DPS. But you can remove Frustration off of your Shadow Pokemon typically during these Team Go Rocket takeover events. That's the only opportunity for you to actually unlock the full potential of your Shadow Pokemon. And fortunately, we're going to be getting one really soon. And this time, they're going to be bringing a new Shadow Legendary, which I predict is going to be extremely powerful, especially when it comes to PvP. So I do think that this event is going to be a really good one, and you should not miss out on it. Let's go over all the details for this Team Go Rocket takeover event, and then afterwards, let me share some more thoughts. The Delightful Days Taken Over event is going to start on August 11 at 12 o'clock AM local time, and it's going to go until August 17 at 11:59 PM local time. The featured Pokemon for this event is going to be Shadow Kyogre as well as Shadow Giratina. Now these are going to be the event bonuses during this event. Of course, we're going to see a lot more Team Go Rocket, whether it be with balloons or within Pokestops. You're going to be able to get a whole bunch of these battles done, and I think that's very important because especially if you're trying to farm up 12-kilometer eggs, this will be a great opportunity for you to do that. You'll also be able to forget Frustration off of your Shadow Pokemon whenever you use a Charge TM. This is probably the most important bonus when it comes to these Team Go Rocket takeover events, and yes, it is going to be a part of this one. Now, Pokemon caught via 1-star and 3-star Shadow raids during the event will have a wider variance of attack, defense, and HP. So, if you're trying to get yourself a PvP Shadow Pokemon from one of these raids, just keep in mind that your chances of getting PvP IVs is certainly going to be a little bit higher. And then making its Pokemon Go debut is going to be Shiny Salandit, which you can get from 12-kilometer eggs. And then there's going to be a special research which is going to award you with a free Shadow Giratina as well as a Super Rocket Radar. Now, a Pokemon that you can finally get from Shadow raids during this event is actually going to be Shadow Kyogre. This is a very powerful Shadow Legendary Pokemon, and the fact that you can now get it from Shadow raids means you might end up getting yourself a 100% IV, which is going to be incredible for raids as well as the Master League. We're also going to see the following Shadow Pokemon from Team Go Rocket Grunts: Shadow Staryu, Shadow Fletchling, Shadow Pick-a-Peck, as well as Shadow Grubbin. If you want any of these Shadow Pokemon, make sure you go out and defeat those Team Go Rocket Grunts. And there's also going to be field research tasks that are going to give you mysterious components. Again, this is a great way for you to farm up those 12-kilometer eggs as well as take on the Team Go Rocket leaders. You'll also get fast TMs and charge TMs. The charge TMs are very important because you will be able to remove Frustration off of your Shadow Pokemon, so if you're lacking in any charge TMs, be on the lookout for any field research tasks that's going to award you with this item. And then finally, these are going to be the Pokemon that will be spawning in Shadow raids. In 1-star Shadow raids, you're going to see Shadow Bellsprout, Shadow Aipom, Shadow Teddiursa, as well as Shadow Seedot. And then in 3-star raids, you're going to see Shadow Girafarig, Shadow Absol, as well as Shadow Whirlipede. And then of course, there's going to be collection challenges during this event, so do keep on the lookout for that so you can get yourself some free rewards. Alright, so like I said at the top of this video, this is going to be an extremely important event, specifically because you will be able to remove Frustration off of your Shadow Pokemon using TMs. And I think that's something you should never ignore. Even if you do not have yourself a bunch of Shadow Pokemon, you should still try to remove Frustration off of whatever Shadow Pokemon you have. It's going to make them extremely powerful when it comes to PvP and raid battles. And let me tell you right now, a lot of the DPS teams that I have for raids is typically filled with Shadow Legendaries and Shadow Pokemon. Shadow Pokemon just do a whole lot more. I know some players out there will say that you should probably purify your Shadow Pokemon to get higher IVs. I think that is probably one of the biggest mistakes that any player could make. You want to keep it Shadow, and you want to be able to remove frustration off of those Pokemon and then use them for raids and PvP. I really do think that unlocks a whole part of this game. A lot of people do struggle with raid battles because they bring a bunch of Pokemon that may not necessarily be top tier, but if you happen to have yourself some Shadow Legendaries, even if they have very low IVs, you should still invest into them by removing frustration and then powering them up. And of course, since we're going to be getting back Kyogre, that is a very powerful Shadow Legendary Pokemon, trust me on that. If you ever come across a raid boss that is weak against water types, Kyogre is going to be extremely powerful, particularly the Shadow version. And one thing you will want to do is remove frustration off of your Shadow Kyogres and then give it the charge attack Precipice Blades, or not Precipice Blades, that's Groudon, the other one, Origin Pulse. Yeah, you want to use an Elite Charge TM to give it Origin Pulse. That's going to make it one of the best, if not the best, water type attacker in your collection. It even beats out some Mega Evolutions, which is really what makes it incredibly powerful. Of course, it's probably not going to out DPS a Primal Reversion version of Kyogre, but since you can only have one of those, it's best to have one of those and then fill the rest of your team with Shadow Kyogre. Now, when it comes to Shadow Altered Form Giratina, I think that's going to be a really powerful Pokemon. I do think it's going to primarily be useful for PvP. I may not necessarily be correct about that, but I'm not much of a battler, so if you're someone who engages in PvP, definitely say so in the comments whether or not it's going to be really good. But still, this is pretty exciting. Anytime they release a new Shadow Legendary Pokemon, it typically has a lot of potential, maybe even for raid battles. Giratina Altered Form is going to be really good as a Shadow. I really do not know, I think the numbers are going to come out pretty soon, but you still do not want to miss out on it. Of course, you may want to wait until it is a Shadow Legendary raid because you will have the potential to get higher IVs. Unless, of course, it is specifically good for PvP, then getting it through Giovanni might actually be a lot more valuable because you might end up getting yourself PvP IVs, which is typically around 0 attack, 15 defense, and 15 health. So yeah, hopefully you'll get lucky this time around. Make sure you mark your calendars for this event so that you could remove all of your, frustration off of all of your, well, I can't talk today. So you can remove frustration off of all of your Shadow Pokemon. That's going to be incredibly important. You do not want to miss out on that. And make sure you stock up on TMs. Until then, that's going to be very important. And that is something that I always forget to do, and sometimes I'll just delete TMs off of my storage because I want to make space, and then when it comes time for the Team Go Rocket Takeover events, I totally forget about the one bonus, and then I don't have any TMs to use. So make sure you hold on to at least your charged TMs and then use them during this event on your Shadow Pokemon. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me know your thoughts regarding this event down below. Are you excited about the release of Shadow Altered Form Giratina? Are you excited about Kyogre coming back as a Shadow? Definitely share your thoughts in the comments below, and yeah, let's have a great discussion. Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if it's your first time here, and also don't forget that notification bell so you can stay up to date on whenever I upload videos. And real quick, let me give a shout out to all of my patrons on Patreon. You make this channel content possible. If you want to support the Jinsula channel, the best way you could do that is going to be by joining my Patreon. And if you become a paid Patreon member, I'm going to add you to my Pokemon Go friends list. That means for stuff like remote raids, the friendship system, opening and sending gifts, different things like that, getting an invite to a Shadow Legendary raid, that's something that I might end up doing. If you want to play Pokemon Go with me, then do consider joining my Patreon. I'll put a link to it in the description below. And if you want to support my channel in a completely different way, the best way to do that is going to be by joining my social media pages. If you go to any of the platforms you see on the bottom of your screen and look for Jinsula, that's going to be me, then make sure you give me a follow and you'll have access to some exclusive content. You'll be able to keep up with my daily life. And that's going to be it for this video. And before I go, let me say, you're awesome, you're loved, I think you're amazing, and yeah, I'll talk to you later. Bye.